Alright, today we're going to talk about modeling equations. So we're going to work on drawing models to represent equations, and we're going to be writing equations to represent models. So first thing, let's just go over some of our vocabulary. So you have the word coefficient. So if you look on the left-hand side, we have this word coefficient right here. So coefficient is just the number that you are multiplying by x. So if you look right here, the coefficient would be the number 4. Okay. Next word we have is our variable. So you have the variable, which is right here, and that is the letter or the unknown in your equation. So this is our variable right here. That's the x. The constant are the two numbers in blue. They are constant, they're not changing. So that's anything that you can add or subtract would be considered a constant. Okay, so moving on. When we do our algebra tiles, there are a few different ways that they're going to be represented, but we're just going to show you one way that is usually represented. So for the algebra tiles, your variable, or our x, is usually represented in a rectangle. For positive, it'll be either colored green, or it'll just have an X in there with no sign. The negative variables will also be a rectangle. Sometimes they will be shaded red. So negative is represented with red, but you will always see the minus X on there, okay? So that's an easy way to tell. If it has the minus sign, it is a negative. For our constants, they're going to be represented with either a square or a circle. And for positive, you'll see it'll just say either 1 or it'll have a plus sign in the box. For the negative, it'll say -1 or just have a negative sign or minus dash inside of the box. Okay. We're going to go ahead and scroll down. So if we look, let's erase this real fast. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 1. So on the left side of our equation, we have x plus 4. On the right side, we have 5. Okay, so when you are modeling, you can use your key that is up top. There are algebra tiles here. So for the x, you're going to represent it with a rod. With the constant, which is a positive 4 here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 positive squares. On the right side, we have a constant of 5. Since that is a positive, it is also going to have just positive ones, and you have 5 squares. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at example 2. You have 3x equals -12. So we have a coefficient of 3 and you have the variable x. So we have 3 of our rods or 3 rectangles and they are positive, so you just have an x inside. You do not have to color these algebra tiles. So you can just put a rectangle, put an x inside. On the right-hand side of this example, you have the constant -12. So there are 12 squares with minus signs inside to represent negative. So this would be the model that would represent that equation. All right, let's go ahead now and look at example 3. This problem is a little bit different because now we have a two-step equation. You have a coefficient here, and you have the constant on the same side. So it has 2 steps. So when we are drawing our equation, you have 2x, or 2 of our rectangles, that is positive 2x, -4, so we have -4 boxes, equals -2. So that would be our model to represent that equation. 2x minus 4 equals -2. And for the last example we have here, I have -4 on the left-hand side equals -2x plus 1. So on the left-hand side of our model, we have 4 squares with a -1 inside. You have the coefficient of -2, so that means I have -2x. So we have two x's, and they are -x, and then 1 positive. All right, so these are examples of models that represent equations. We are going to go ahead and go to guided practice, where you are going to draw models to represent equations and write equations to represent the model.